wishing to speak in support of the bill is Sally Kohler. And Sally and her daughter, Rachel, would you like to come up, please? Welcome to the committee.
I'm Sally Kohler here with my daughter, Rachel. I'm here on her behalf to just give a brief, hopefully understanding to all of you of what this fiasco has caused us. Rachel was in a car accident 8 years ago at the age of 18. And now she's 27 years old. She suffers can you hear me if I'm not looking right at this? Okay. She suffers a traumatic brain injury, a TBI. So she's got lots of scar tissue in her brain. Everything takes longer. Everything has to reroute. Like if you were on the expressway and there was you had to get off to an exit because of a traffic jam, and you have to reroute and go a different route. Everything takes a little bit longer for her. With her traumatic brain injury, there's vision problems. Her dominant right side is now her weak side. She had to learn how to use her left hand. It goes on and on. So there's a lot of deficits there, and it's a lifelong injury. It's not a hip replacement that will be fixed in 90 days. It's a lifelong injury for life. I had to be told this probably 50 times before it sunk in. She has doctor prescribed 24/7 attendant care. This is not the insurance company is not disputing this. She has cognitive issues and she's a fall risk. She needs someone with her 24/7. If there was a fire in the house, she can't get out. She can't go down steps on her own. She can't safely get out. She needs someone with her at all times, whether it's to shower, help her get her food out of the oven, the things that we just take for granted. She can't run out to the mailbox in the rain to get the mail. It takes her a while. She can't hop in the car and drive. She no longer can drive. So our life is no longer normal, and someone has to be with her, providing just simple daily tasks that we take for granted. Over the last 8 years, we've had a combination of agencies, along with me, providing her attendant care. Most recently in February, the agency we had helping me provide attendant care with her, help her tie her shoe, help her in the shower, prepare her food, do her dishes, walk alongside of her. In February, the agency regretfully had to tell me that they have not been paid by our insurance company for their services of attendant care since last August. So they're helping me take care of Rachel August, September, October, November, December, January, February. They have not been paid. To this date, they have not been paid. They have filed a DIFS appeal. I have filed complaints with DIFS. The adjuster can't tell us why. She's aware of it. She refers us to this third-party Medata. We have no idea why it's not paid. We have a doctor-prescribed 24/7 care. They know she needs 24/7 care. I'm her mom, so a family member can only provide and be compensated for 8 hours a day. I take care of her for 24 hours a day, and I get paid for 8 hours. So take your paycheck, cut it in a third. No matter, you work 10 hours a day, cut that in third. And then, if that's not enough, you're still working the 10 hours, but cut your paycheck in third. And if that's not enough, then take another 45% pay cut. I get $11.27 to take care of her per hour for 8 hours for 24 hours a day. And there's no benefits. If I'm sick, I take care of her. No paid vacations, just no benefits, no Social Security, no 401k. I still have bills coming in. We have a home that's modified for her. I still have to make those payments on $90 a day for her to be able to live in her accessible home. After months of asking,
Sally, excuse me a minute. What I'd like you to do is focus on what we're talking about here, and
For
that
DIFS?
is the pay,
Okay,
the
okay.
pay portion of this.
Okay.
And one other thing I would like you to address, if you would, is if the company that you're working with, as far as the insurance company, what your record was of payment prior to the insurance, and how often your providers were paid.
Okay, so before the reform, we had a couple other agencies work for us, and they were always paid on time. It was never an issue. It was never an issue. We don't even know why it's an issue. And so after months of asking for help with our adjuster to find care, on the urging of DIFS, because I filed a complaint with DIFS, they suggested that I work it out with the adjuster. After months of asking her for help, they came up, their help was in an email providing 3 agency names and phone numbers. That was their help. This is after months of asking for help. So I called one agency. We had the director set up an appointment to meet with us to do an intake. She was a no-show. Later in talking to her, she said she knows insurance won't pay for it. They're not going to give us any help. The other 2 agencies told me that they would need a letter of agreement signed by our insurance company, the adjuster, to assure that they would be compensated. They will not sign that. So I have complaints filed with DIFS, ongoing complaints with DIFS. That remains open, which means it's unresolved. I have no help. I stay at home to provide Rachel's 24/7 prescribed care because there's no one to help me. There's no support. I don't know where to turn. 8 hours a day, $11.27 an hour is what I get paid for providing care for her for 24 hours. I cannot leave my home. I can't go get another job. I don't know what to do. I do have, I've been working with someone on DIFS. I have filed over 20 complaints with DIFS since last August. I asked him when I saw a record of the DIFS, the number of complaints in the open and closed. I asked him, because I have so many complaints. I have formal complaints that I've filed, and I also have their formal complaints because they're electronically in emails. And so I asked him, how many complaints do you show on my record? Because I just saw a report and it just doesn't make sense. I know how many complaints I have filed. So this is DIF's response to me, and it says, as it relates to your complaints, our system reflects that you have submitted 7 total web complaints from August 21 to December 2021. So that means I actually went out to their form and filled out those complaints on their form, which is not user-friendly. If you don't get your information in there in time, it times out and you have to resubmit it. You have to attach documents. Sometimes they get them, sometimes they don't. All 7, he says, all 7 of these web complaints, along with your subsequent emailed complaints, are all included under one complaint. All of these complaints are counted as one. I have over 20 complaints, and it's one complaint. He goes on to say, from a record standpoint, we only reflect one complaint file. You are assigned a file number. You have one complaint file. However, all of the information you have submitted is maintained in our system. I have approximately 15 to 20 email complaints along with these 7 formal ones, and it's counted as one. Then he goes on to say, based on how we compile the information under one complaint, your file is currently open and any outstanding concerns you have provided are currently being reviewed. I have approximately 3 closed and all the rest are open since last August. It's not counted that I have any closed. It's counted as one complaint.
Sally, I would like to thank you for your testimony up to now, and in the interest of allowing others to speak, I have a question for you. How long did it take you to fill out each one of the, and yeah, let's keep it brief. How much of your time did it take to fill out each of those complaints online?
The online ones on their form, you can barely put any information in. And I was even told that when you fill those out, there's not enough information to really help you. I would say at a minimum of an hour, no more than 2 hours. Because I had,
can answer that. I would say a heck of a lot longer than an hour.
Thank you, Rachel.
but when I file now, instead of going out to do the formal, because I have so many complaints, it's basically, I'll make it real brief. I file a complaint in an email. DIFS responds that they received my email. They basically forward my email on to my insurance company. They just basically forward it on, and now they will say they don't direct them, they don't tell them, they don't require the insurance company. DIFS suggests, they advise. They ask the insurance company to consider what my complaint is about, to consider it.
Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Thank you both for your testimony.
Can I just say one more
Yes,
thing?
one more
So
thing.
when I file these email complaints, I averaged in the month of May, I looked them up, 4 to 6 hours for each complaint, 4 to 6 hours. And I'm taking care of her for 24 hours. It's taking time away. And I ask for just one more minute. I know I can speak a lot, but I just want to say that my daughter is one of thousands of catastrophically injured victims, one of 1,000 that have a very similar story to ours. She struggles on a daily basis. We don't quite live a normal life like all of you know what a normal life is. I cannot comprehend how it's possible for a human being to watch another human being suffer unnecessarily the way it's being allowed. I ask each of you to look at my daughter as not only a disabled survivor, but as a human being who rightfully deserves to live a quality of life that the auto reform has taken away from us. I ask you, I beg you, I plead with you to please consider to fix this.
Thank you, Sally and Rachel, for being here.
Thank you.
Representative Glanville does have one question.
Okay.
So the last time this committee met, we heard testimony on House Bill 5870, which I believe addresses, I believe it's connected to this topic, because in 5870, we were looking at how we might incentivize, encourage, force, I don't know what word you want to use there, providers to pay. We are aware that there is a significant issue around providers paying, exactly what you described at the beginning of your testimony. And so maybe my question is more for the chair. How might these two bills come together so that we can have accurate tracking of complaints, and then that would shed more light on what's actually going on with the providers? Because I think we all realize nobody's denying there's a problem. It's how do we collect the data so that we can move forward and act positively for those who are affected.
Representative, I think that's a very constructive candidate or comment that you're making here, and I think that's part of the work of the committee is to look at that. And that's why we appreciate these ladies
Thank
being
you.
here today.
We have bills coming in Rachel's name now that haven't been paid for 8 and 10 months. And we have complaints on these. Nobody's doing anything about it. And that's just us. There's so many people that don't know how to even file complaints or even know who to turn to. So you're not even hearing from everyone that's having these problems. That's why I'm here today, for my daughter as well as all these other families. It needs to be fixed.
Okay,
I
and we
plead
do
with
have,
you
I thought
that
we
we
were
need
done.
your help.
We do have one more question from Representative Coleman, the bill sponsor.
Just wanted to thank you and your beautiful daughter for being here today. We appreciate you taking the time and sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
Obviously, this issue was an unintended consequence of the insurance reform of 2020. This is not what the legislature intended to happen. And I'll just say, I anecdotally, I had a conversation with someone from DIFS yesterday, and they mentioned that they aggregate and account their data in a computer program that they started using in the 1990s. And that's not to make anybody in the industry or DIFS or the governor or anybody else look bad. I just want to share that because this really has been a failure of the legislature. And so that's why we're doing this today, because we see that there's an issue, but without the proper data and getting the facts, we're not able to make the right decision. So that's what this is about. So I want to just thank both of you for coming. We really appreciate
I
it.
appreciate that. And you have to remember, not everyone can provide the data that you guys want or are asking for. Who has the time and who has the ability? Like, if Rachel didn't have me, who would provide that data? Like, if they're in a nursing home, who is providing that data to tell you guys what's wrong? You're only seeing a portion of it, just a portion.
And Sally, you've been very good. We do have one more question. Representative Breen, and we are going to try to keep it short because we have some more people who wish to speak, okay?
Thank you. I apologize for missing part of your testimony. I have little kids at home. Have you been through utilization reviews? And if so, how many? And has that caused delays in Rachel's treatment?
I have to keep this brief, and that's going to be very hard. Yes, Rachel's under utilization review. Utilization review decided that Rachel no longer needs her physical therapy. She no longer has physical therapy. They ended that in December because someone read a piece of paper and decided it doesn't matter that Rachel's 7 doctors and all her therapists say she needs it. They decided she doesn't need it. I'm fighting that. We're in utilization review. I'm probably going to have to go to litigation. Nobody cares. I called the adjuster, 2 urgent emails, 2 urgent phone calls. 7 weeks later, she called me back. 7 weeks later, in February.
So,
It's still not resolved. Yes, we're in utilization review.
so just to be clear, because not everybody understands this concept, a third party looked at Rachel's documentation and without even meeting her or examining her, made a determination about her necessary medical care?
They read a piece of paper. They read a piece of paper and decided from a therapist's notes or
They decided that because Bob Franklin or a random person doesn't need physical therapy for as long as I do, that I don't need it just because they don't. And everybody's different, but they think we're all the same.
I just want to say Rachel's had 15 falls. 15 falls since January.
I'm sorry, just one follow-up. And because of these utilization reviews and delays in treatment, are you receiving balance bills stating that you have money to pay, and how much do they claim that you might owe?
I have 4 balance bills. I have one for $15,000, and I have got them down to $56
Okay, thank
in
you.
Rachel's name.
I am so incredibly sorry
Thank you.
about what you and Rachel are going through.
Thank you.
Good questions, Representative. Thank you so much for your bravery in coming in today.
I appreciate the
appreciate it.
time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, wishing to speak in support of the bill is Teresa Rudicelli. Come on.